So Sarah, nice presentation. Uh, how do we make AI more exciting than it is right now with DeepSeek, with Stargate, uh, all the news coming out of the US? Let's bring it down to
Real life experience. How does that affect you guys, your company, in the services that you will provide? Because one of the things that's scaring people with AI, you know, Yusek, Giselle mentioned earlier, it's only as good as the people using it. But there's a lot of bad actors nowadays working on using AI. So
I
tell us,
agree.
do we have to be worried?
Hello. Okay. So yes, you're right. It's true, and there's really there's a lot of ways you can use AI, right, for good and for bad. And for us, of course, at the end of the day, and I think I'm very thankful that we're part of an organization where we have sort of not sort of we have good intentions, and that's aligned to how we want to use AI. So a lot of things that's being said, of course, when we hear it from outside, we try to say, okay, what's the impact to us? And what does it mean when we use this for our customers, right? And it's just about using the technology. I think what was mentioned earlier in the panel is really about the business use case, right? So end of the day, we need to make sure it's solving a business challenge, right? It doesn't have to be super fancy all the time. So as long as it's meeting its objectives for the business, then that's the right way. It's always, I guess it's easy to get caught in the hype, but end of the day, we need to think about, it's really creating value and managing it with the cost that it takes, because actually, AI using, Gen AI is kind of very expensive to use, right? So taking that into consideration, having in place the processes and the policies to make sure that, that happen in that manner, right? And that's what we do, and how we balance all of this.
So we shouldn't be scared, diba?
Of course. I
Okay.
mean, yes.
No, no, Adrian, we've been working on the financial sector also. And I know, having worked with our team before, cybersecurity is a big issue. And you're working with a bank. So do you have the same opinion as Sarah? I mean, should we be worried? Uh, After they launched Stargate, they launched DeepSeek. You don't know what they'll launch next week. We've seen, diba, we now have selfie banking. You can, has AI been able to hack that type of authentication? Or tell me, what else are you guys doing to make sure you're ahead of the AI bad actors?
So it's definitely something that we always have to take into account. We always have to be prepared for that, because us choosing not to move forward with AI, not adapting to the new reality, does not make the bad actors stop, right? Because they will use that technology. So the best that we can do, we can also try to learn about all the new advances and make sure we can fight back as well.
So anything specific, like anything that we should be excited with so that we feel safe at night?
Yes. Union Bank will make you feel safe day and night because we are applying AI to protect our customers. And I'm sure Gcash is doing the same as well. We are using AI to understand your transactional behavior. When are you out of pattern? Should we flag anything so that we can catch very early when there is bad acting in the game? Yeah, so we are doing that for fighting financial crimes, like for example, for mule account detection. We are doing it also to increase operational efficiency. For example, for the suspicious transaction reporting, there are so many false positives, and we are trying to bring that down. So now with an AI model in place, we brought it down by 40%. And that means that investigators have more time to focus on the real critical cases. So with AI, we definitely have as one of the strong pillars to fight financial crimes and to protect our customers better so that they can sleep at night.
Yeah, it's always been security first, right? Yeah.
For a bank, it's very
Yes.
important.
Yeah, otherwise the regulators are gonna go after you. So on social media use, Rookie, have you seen any? I know DeepSeek is #1 now. So what's the buzz in social media right now in terms of all this hype around which one is the better AI? China, US. I guess it's just between China and US right now, right?
But I think in the context of the Philippines, I think you mentioned it's all about hype. So we love our shiny new toy, right? So whatever's new is the adoption will be quite steep, but then the sustenance of that adoption might actually falter just because, the consumers, again, regular folks, might not find the real difference, unlike, experts who would really want to use it for Gen AI, predictive AI. So I think currently culture will tell us that it's just hype. I don't think the Filipino masses have gone past the AI filters and things that are funny that can be talked about over the dinner table. But I think what AI is changing in the social landscape is really fraud detection, because we know that culture follows the trend of what's being viewed, what content is really popular out there, and AI will help, again, marketers and brands do fraud detection. So aside from the layer of the likes of Google Double Verify, working with IAS to ensure that these impressions, the content that's out there is actually viewed by real people and not, again, bots. I think it's very crucial for us to use AI to drive what's truthful in the context of Philippine culture.
I fully agree.
Go
Can I
ahead, go
just
ahead.
interject to ask about the hype? Which part is hype in your opinion? You mean the whole Gen AI thing?
I think it's which platform, the platform that is being used more commonly by Filipinos, more particularly, because I think ChatGPT is still most popular only because it's the most talked about. So I think we have a study at Dentsu called the Data Consciousness Project. So what we are seeing is that if there is no value exchange between the platform and the consumers, then they will actually have no reason to actually jump ship. And that's what we're seeing, at least currently, in how AI is being used by the common people, which is, again, a totally different story when you talk about exports and enterprises.
I noticed, so I've been playing around with DeepSeek. Parang there's embedded censorship. There are topics there that it won't answer as opposed to the others. How big of an issue is censorship ba in social media?
Definitely, I think regardless of class, censorship is something that is touchy, only because, again, perception shapes reality for this community. And if there are certain taboo topics that the consumers expect but are not being generated, again, we believe what we want to see, is, I think, the current mindset of Filipino users of AI. So there's this skepticism and doubt if conformity bias is something that they experience using the app, which is quite controversial because, again, as Filipinos, we're not actually truth seekers.
Really?
We are actually a people who wants to agree with the masses, with the popular vote. I think that's what we're seeing in social right
So
now.
basically, that the more popular it is, the truer it is, no? Parang that's our barometer of truth. Well, maybe Yuan, and any insights on Nvidia,
All right.
the crash just happened.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
almost impossible before. China's coming up with their own infra in the background. How is that going to impact us?
Yeah, definitely it will give a big impact in terms of the masses using generative AI nowadays, right? And it has been always the perception, because currently right now we are at the mercy of these tech giants, right? So they are the one holding these LLMs, these models, right? And to have released DeepSeek, which give us a better access in terms of the pricing model that they are preparing, then probably this will be a good game changer moving forward, in a sense that we can able to tailor an app that is more user-friendly, in a way that it is more accessible in terms of the cost from the clients, right? So in terms of like how we are going to reshape with all these tech giants currently trying to uh, monopolize So there's this thing called democratize, but honestly, it's just a buzzword for me because it always drills down to who has the biggest resources that is available to do all these things.
So it's just China and the US
Yeah,
right now.
precisely. Yeah.
So what's the chance of the Philippines?
That's a very good question, actually. Yeah, that is something that is still hanging out there. Because currently, right now, yeah, we are still like exploring how to use AI. At this point, we are talking about AI now, but honestly, in 2025, we should be talking about agents, right? And how we can utilize agents to help individually at first, and probably also the organizations, the companies itself. But still, we are still trying to educate ourselves, at least here in the Philippines space, that we need to use AI, we need to like basically educate ourselves, especially in the far flanks of this country where I was raised. It's totally different. Like you are talking about AI and then you're just looking at what the heck this guy is talking about, right? So again, coming from Give Me perspective, right? So we are the event tech industry, right? So we usually focus to the attendee journey, the attendee experience. So once you came to this registration, you just scan the QR code and then the badge will print it for you. And we have done that like a decade ago in Singapore. Coming back here in the Philippines, when we piloted the Give Me 2 years ago, we say, wow, this is amazing. But we have been doing that in Singapore for like a decade ago. Same thing goes with AI. We've been talking about this AI stuff, buzz, and all these things. But how can we able to drill down this to the masses that they can be able to utilize more? I know GCash has been using it because I have a GCash loan, and it's been calling me, and I know that it's an AI because I just play around with it, and then he just answered it. But yeah, so that's one thing. That's a good use case, basically, because we experience it. Probably people don't know about it, but I personally experienced it, that it is being drilled down to the masses. But that's the part of the fintech. How about those people like manufacturers? How about those people, quick vendors, tricycle drivers? So that's a big challenge that they can able to utilize AI, right? So that is something that for me is still a best about AI. But if we can able to drill down this to the masses, then that is something very noble.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks, Roland. A lot of people know you with your private endeavors, so we
Yes,
won't
yes.
go into that one. I'm more interested, and I hope it's okay to share. You're helping out the government right now, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So for some of you who don't know, Roland's been kind enough to be part of DCI, which is the data center inc. of the government. A lot of people think that it's a data center. Actually, it's, how should I call it? It's the systems integrator for the
Yeah.
government, right?
Yep.
So I know you're doing a lot. You guys are working double time. But AI, is it still, is it with Stargate, right? The US government put up Stargate.
That's actually one of, yeah.
Would the Philippines have any chance of at least approximating some AI adoption in the next 3 years, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things, speaking with a lot of folks who built sovereign AI solutions in Europe and flying them out here, and I saw AWS is here. Would love to talk because Microsoft and OpenAI have been great in terms of thinking deeper about. Imagine sovereign AI like building a home. So the first layer is the foundation, and we're gonna have to really spend a lot of time building the infrastructure and the idea of what an AI data center would look like. It's not like any other data center. The chips, I don't know if this is the right forum, but nuclear power. Just everything required to get this thing off the ground. So that's layer number one, is the foundation. And then number two would be the research layer. And that's actually a really exciting opportunity for all of us here, is putting together an AI summit, inviting the chief information officers of all the departments to really fully understand, while concurrently working with private partners like Anthropic or OpenAI or whoever to start developing these LLMs and creating a POC factory so that by the end of the president's term, we can go into the third layer, which is the actual applications to be built for the long term from a PPP standpoint. And I do think that it is a realistic thing, although I would like to share privately because one thing is a lot of people don't know, my largest shareholders are also the largest shareholders of ByteDance. And one of my investors, Jeff, was the largest donor for Trump to help save what happened to them. And I do think that similar to what Facebook did to the Philippines in terms of enabling and empowering Filipinos with free internet, some of these Gen AI solutions that we have to build and start thinking of a future where people will just stop believing what they see and less about rich getting richer, poor getting poorer, but people becoming more relevant and people becoming less irrelevant or becoming more irrelevant, is what are we going to do from a business model perspective to better serve our constituents who will increasingly become irrelevant and have nothing to do. And so those are the types of things that really keep us up at night when thinking about building out a sovereign AI solution and just making sure that at the very least, for example, like DeepSeek and OpenAI. What's so interesting about DeepSeek, I'm so sorry, Huawei, I love Huawei, we work with you guys, I saw your logo up there. But a lot of times people are like, how did Huawei catch up so fast, right? And then you start thinking about things like Foxconn and how it's the same factory that built iPhones. So, oh, maybe that's one of the ways they caught up. And so when you look at distillation and the types of skills required to catch up very quickly, yes, it's true. We could build Gen AI solutions very quickly with DeepSeek. But I do think that depending on the political economy over the next 2.5 years, getting a similar type of investment like what Facebook did 10, 20 years ago, pouring billions of dollars into our internet infrastructure, I do think that whether it's OpenAI, Microsoft, AWS, whoever, needs to really put investment. I saw Microsoft is committing $35 billion to 14 different countries. And considering that the development bank has already committed, what, 25 billion towards Maharlika Fund, that one way to actually deploy Maharlika Fund money is to match a $1 billion investment that actually comes from, you know, Microsoft or AWS. Sorry, but that's kind of like where I'm thinking. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, we need the government side because look at what happened in China. What happened with the EVs? Without government support, they wouldn't have developed that. And I was going through some Chinese vehicles last night. I just stumbled on a YouTube post that says the best autonomous driving software right now is from Huawei. How's that? And Xiaomi has the best car of the year, right? So yeah, I totally agree. Government has to match what private sector is going to put in terms of AI and vice versa. So I guess your next startup would be in AI, right? So most probably. As a scoop, come on.
So also I've been really helping Manny Ayala with Endeavor and just really focusing on taking all the post-traumatic stress of starting your own startup and then being a therapist for CEOs. So that's kind of my new role right now. I'm going to be a CEO therapist.
Cool. Ida, remember in 2023, we did the first, we'll call it first mainstream corporate gig that discussed ChatGPT.
We were the first one.
Yeah, so
Correct.
trip down memory lane. And it's only been a year and now you have Stargate, you have DeepSeek. Everybody's now looking for the next substitute to the NVIDIA chips. Do you see a lot of, because Ida, you've been talking to a lot of board chairmen, boards, and you know, it's a constant discussion in our ICD group. What's going to be the next technology discussion we should have with boards? So
Nice,
is AI going to dominate the conversation now in 2025 for boards?
You know, I can talk about that for about half an hour. May I give a background? My name is Ida Sinisa Chongson. I'm a vice chair of Institute of Corporate Directors. I'm also trustee of Fintech Alliance. I sit in 3 publicly listed companies. I sit in multinational. I'm part of the family of one data center and multinational, of course. a Chinese multinational, which is into fintech, the biggest. So anyway, back to the question. Oh, by the way, I sit in Surpass. That's AI publicly listed technology company. And my job there is to actually help them also turn around. Okay, so the point in the AI adoption, it is so wide range that I don't even think you need to discuss AI adoption because AI adoption is already in place. It's just a matter of appreciation further, and every day is new. It's only January 27 when NASDAQ, FTSE, Dow Jones, and all of the tech companies, they all of a sudden, all the stocks just went down. And the reason for that, and they're saying, is because of DeepSeek. I know we'd be talking about DeepSeek. DeepSeek is a China OpenAI, and it's gaining so much traction. I actually only downloaded that yesterday. And they only spent $5 million in infra compared to $100 or $500 million. And all of these investments, by the way, AI fintech investments running already in 43 billion as far as the world's concerned. So back to the position of the question on the adoption as far as the board's concerned, admittedly at the board level, we still need to push that because they think it's a job of lower level. Now, tama yung previous speaker. I mean, everyone has to be into IT because that's the name of the game. Can I just, you know, I didn't mean to actually take the floor too long, but may I just, I do have a 1 minute video, if you don't mind, if that can be shown. So while
Can
they're
we set it up, the 1
yeah,
minute video?
I think they're
Is
ready for
somebody-
that.
Okay.
While I'm actually, they're setting that up, if that's actually ready. Okay, let's go. I hope there's sound. Can we have sound?
Audio. That's really her, not an AI, yeah?
Can we, can we have a sound? Okay, so again, a bit of a background. I spoke in TED Talk only last month, and I talk about power of technology governance, and of course, deep fakes and all of that comes into the picture, and the role of the board. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Who would need a Miss Universe interpreter when you can already interpret on the spot? But the danger, the deepfake danger is already out there. In fact, in June 2024, during the Turing test, you can no longer tell if it's real or it's fake.
Okay, can I pause there for a second? Two topics that I just mentioned there, fantastic technology, about having all this AI. I'm an AI nerd, by the way. So, and it's also, there's danger to it as well because June of last year in the Turing test, you can no longer tell if it's deep fake or not. So next, there's a, can you play the second part of it? Thanks. Second part.
Fantastic technology. Who would need a Miss Universe interpreter when you can already interpret on the spot? But the danger, the deepfake danger is already out there. In fact, in June 2024, during the Turing test, you can no longer tell if it's real or it's fake. 我打算展示5种不同的语言，但关键是这很有趣，这是一项了不起的技术。谁还需要环球小姐的翻译呢？
Sige, we can
既然你已经可以
continue.
现
Next
场
one.
翻译了，但是我打算展示5种不同的语言，但关键是这很有趣，这是一
Next
项了
one.
不起的
I
技
think we're
术。
repeating.
谁还需要环球小姐的翻译呢？既然你已经可以现场翻译了。
Next one, go ahead. I need to explain this.
Takes us to new heights. A utopia where innovation solves real problems and humanity thrives in harmony. Picture green skyscrapers, clean energy, smart systems.
Okay, it's okay, we can stop because it's nothing to do with my speech. The first one is my real speech. I was talking about stuff in power of governance. The second one, you know, these days it's so easy. You can talk in any language. I've been speaking overseas, and when I go to Indonesia, I speak their language, and it's fantastic. Who needs interpreter, right? The third one is the dangerous one. The third one is not me. Did you know that's a clone? So it's me, but it's not me. But all I did was type in what I'm going to say, and it spoke like me, and it wasn't even me. So this is the dangerous part where your Tom, Dick, and Harry can actually do that. So why am I saying this? Because we're into governance, right? And fantastic technology, we're for facing that into the day-to-day. Lots of work to be done. Positive part is, for example, lahat tayo, like we're having problems with policies and documents, right? Where do you find this? Where do you find that? Now it's so easy. You just connect, and it's only PDF driven, and it's only ChatGPT. Connect that, and you get people from HR asking, well, can I get a retirement at the age of 45 or something like that? So they don't have to go through you. It could be through a ChatGPT with the document in your own organization. That's easy to be done now, and any Tom, Dick, and Harry, just like what I did, can do it now. Lots of adoption, but I'm still concerned about the handling of the data and how deepfakes are now becoming dangerous. So I hope we can talk about that further later on.
So Ida mentioned the boards that she participated in, mostly tech, but actually Ida used to be the chairwoman of ProLife. So she's got a strong financial background, but she's also very technical now, right? Especially on the AI side. So I think just to close out the session, short, fearless prediction for 2025. What is the most at-risk job from AI? Like a moderator, for example. You won't need a moderator anymore next time. Will you do an AI? So let's start from yon, from the end. Fearless prediction, so that people can start typing their resumes now if they feel that their job's at risk. Go ahead.
All right. Before I answer you, sir, has anyone here have downloaded the Give Me app? Can I have a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And when you go inside the SONAI 2025, do you realize that if you go to the agenda, do you realize that there's this view summary? Have you tried that? Okay, cool. So actually what we are talking about here on the sessions is being transcribed right now, right? So later on, probably if you go back, you try to download Give Me app, and then just log in using the email that you used to register here, and you will see the takeaways of what has been discussed here. So that's the one of the problem that us in the event tech industries that we are solving, right? Because we utilize AI. So basically it's called Snapsight, right? Insight in a snap. So what basically Snapsight do is it's taking the audio, we are transcribing it, and we are feeding it to a multiple LLMs. And we get the code of it and display it as the key takeaways, right? And it has also a thing called Idea Cloud, whereby whatever we discuss here, the more topics that we are discussing, it's being presented in a graphical model. And you will see the transcript of what has been told or what has been, and who is saying it, right? So later on, hopefully, you're going to download that and see for yourself. Now, say for example, next year with SONAI, right? Would you like to have, with all this transcript that we are collecting, right? Would you like to have a model that later on we can able to display here with a face, and probably you can ask directly to that model, right? Is that something you guys is interested on? Technology is already here. We can able to do that. Give Me can able to generate a white paper probably in the next few minutes after this session end, and right away we can email back to you. So that's how powerful AI that Give Me is utilizing nowadays. And apart from that, Give Me is also launching what we call the Spark Agent Studio. as I mentioned earlier, this year is more of the AI agents, whereby you can able to automate things. Right now, we are so limited with the inputs that we are using, say in ChatGPT, because how fast we can type, how fast we can able to say things, to command, right? Now, with AI agent, you don't need to do that. It will do that for you. Just imagine, you want to book a car wash on a Saturday, and you will say, hey, AI agent, I want to book, please try to find a car wash for me that is nearby around 10 a.m. On a Saturday. And at least give me 3 options that offers a home service. Then, of course, AI agent will going to search the web. And one of the search the AI will do is that, hey, the weather on a Saturday is going to be rainy. It will be useless for you to go car wash. He can able to recommend that for you. But if not, then he will recommend 3. Probably this is just the scenario that I'm stating for example's sake. He will generate 3 car wash business that is nearby to you that offer a home service, and it calls with pricing as well. Now you will ask the agent that, hey, can you decide for me which one is the better one? And for sure, true enough, he can able to decide for you, and he can even book that appointment for you. Imagine that. Wouldn't it be scary, or wouldn't it be more convenient individually?
So which job? Which job will be eliminated? You basically eliminated a lot of jobs, but we just want you to eliminate just one.
I don't want to be specific but ultimately, yes, you need to be scared. Job will be replaced. That's for sure, right? My background is software engineers, right? So I write codes on a daily basis. So that time, when I'm still very active in writing codes, we only have our seniors to ask and the books, right? Now, in the advent of Google search, Stack Overflow is the best web page that we could visit. GitHub is one. And now, with generative AI, you just tell AI, hey, I want to create a login screen with these specific features, with this specific security. Do it for me. I want to be this color, blah, blah, blah. Then, in just a split of a second, it will generate that code for you.
Okay, so that we stop destroying jobs. So you're saying coders. Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Ida, would AI replace board members now? Maybe that's something that we can. Maybe independent board members, then AI board members. So what do you think? Which job 2025?
Because the question is about board members. Believe it or not, it's already being tested right this very moment that you can have an AI board member, not an assistant. This is actually discussed March of last year in the Global Network of Directors. And Microsoft scientist was the one who was mentioning that, and it's already in place. That's already being tested. But in my opinion, Philippines may be a long way away. We do have a lot of intelligent board of directors. And the thing about if it's going to be AI, you still need critical thinking. And you need to get the strategy and the critical thinking may not yet be there. But of course, because it's machine learning, it's going to learn it, right? By the way, I'm a big fan of Dr. Heinrich, Adrian. A big fan also of Dr. Kanaba, Henry? Oh, Henry Aguda, because these guys, they can talk about this and they know. They know. What I want to advise, though, we need more tech-savvy people in the board. So not necessarily, but those ones that can understand AI and actually can understand more tech, we need more of them at the board level.
Okay, so I guess not board members yet, but most probably, remember, you had the proposal before for the ones taking minutes. So maybe
Yes.
minute takers.
The secretariat is such an easy
Secretariat.
function these days. I actually teach secretariat how to make life easier using AI.
Yeah.
Journalist, making their life easier. And by the way, they're using that already. But those are the jobs that can be dangerous, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll call them vulnerable jobs. Roland, vulnerable jobs. I mean, tech entrepreneur cannot be AIs, right? So your job's safe. So which job do you think?
You know, actually, I'm looking at Roland over there. Big shout out because, Roland. He was talking about in the previous this whole idea of end-to-end and holistic. And so the two biggest developments I think that should be impacted, especially for 2025, is the autonomous end-to-end. What does that autonomous end-to-end mean? So imagine we use ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever the case may be, and it's usually you ask a question, it answers, ask a question, it answers. But to be able to go end-to-end and say, hey, so-and-so, give me a couple of recommendations depending on what you see this weekend in Tagaytay, blah, 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 and then you just leave. And then you check in, and it just thinks and looks at the context of how you live your life, that it not only plans out your whole entire itinerary, but you're not just going task, question, answer. It just goes autonomous all the way to the very end of what you actually want. That autonomous end-to-end is going to be very revolutionary for the way humans actually get tasks done. So whatever job that is, but it also frees up and makes other types of humans, more relevant humans, deeper in their tasks and their critical thinking. That's number one. Number two, though, that's also happening is the multimodal, something that I did the first ever conversational AI test in the Philippines with OpenAI, where it was voice. So why is that interesting? Because when you go ChatGPT, usually it's just you're typing and going back and forth. But when you're talking to OpenAI and it's talking to you like your friend, and on top of that, it's autonomous and end-to-end, the very way that I've seen people form emotional relationships with this particular AI, it's going to be very interesting. And this isn't science fiction like the way that you've seen it in movies. With every new language learning model that is launching on a monthly basis, by the end of this year, those two technologies merging into that experience, I think will be very strong for the critical thinking, relevant human, but very disastrous for the irrelevant human.
So let me build on that one. This is why a lot of the BPOs are scared, right? Because what you've described are basically jobs that are process-oriented and relatable. So you're talking about BPO jobs, right?
In a lot of ways, yes. So another thing that also keeps me up at night is also double downing on things like healthcare jobs, because there's no way robots are going to take care of people. Two, as a live stream person, and one of the reasons why I like live entertainment, especially in the MOA area and Soler and City of Dreams, high rollers do not want robots doing cards. You do not want singers. You do not want robot singers and those types of things. So I do think that if you could actually attract millions of people to retire in the Philippines, the healthcare jobs required and the live entertainment required to entertain these people who bring in their GDP per capita into the Philippines, that will create at least 2.5, 3 million jobs to offset the 3 million irrelevant jobs, in addition to upskilling and making sure that you are more relevant.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sarah, you
Yes.
know, I was interacting with your operators. Come on, tell us. You're using AI na, di ba? You've eliminated some jobs because of AI. That's true, right? You're using the way they react, parang hindi totoong voice ng tao eh. So, you are
Is
using
it
AI.
GG or?
Yeah, oo.
I don't know, sorry. So for collection, there are actual bots that that we use. One is they tend to remain calm even if the customer is a bit, so at least that conversation remains calm, right? But we don't really eliminate jobs per se. It's more of really expanding the reach. So to answer your question on the 2025, I think for me, there's no job that's going to be in 2025.
2025, but you're using AI already, eh?
But it doesn't mean that I eliminated people for it, right?
Ah, okay, got
I
you, got.
augmented the person who's doing that work so that that will make it more efficient, so that we probably won't need as much, but we can be more productive, right? Because similar, I mean, related to what Roland mentioned, the opposite side of not all customers will have the appetite or will be okay with talking to AI. For example, financial advisors, right? So in the app, eventually you will see like a financial advisor for anyone who will be able, so that they can be educated or to help with financial planning and financial investments, right? But your ultra rich won't want to be talking to an AI for those discussions. So I think end of the day, there's always going to be an appetite for human interaction. So for 2035, for sure, we will not have any jobs replaced quite soon. But it expands the things that you can do with the same amount of people. Maybe eventually, when people are more used to it, then that's when jobs will really start sort of like going away.
Okay, so my takeaway is not in 2025, but in 2026.
January, no, just kidding.
So human in the loop for 2025. Rookie, I've heard about virtual influencers.
Yes,
I saw some of them in the they're not real people pala. So that impacts your industry, right?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, we're one of the pioneers to do VIs. So when we talk about, again, influencer marketing, KOLs are such a big thing in the Philippines. But again, the potential of virtual influencers really transcend what, again, human beings can do. Imagine the trend of live selling. So it's very taxing for an actual influencer to go on camera for 9 hours. But imagine a virtual influencer, again, well-programmed together with not just AI, but actual human interaction through haptics, for example, can actually elevate that experience to something that's more authentic for your viewers. And that means that even though a virtual influencer is live selling on TikTok right now, that influencer can also appear as a hologram on a brand launch on ground, can also be answering questions on social. So I guess it's really the pros and cons of what a VI can and cannot do vis-a-vis the benefits of, again, putting a real KOL there. And again, it's not an or, it's not an and, but an or, really. So if you have an influencer strategy, maybe a virtual influencer can form part of that mix. That said, I think one of the findings we have at Dentsu is that in the Philippines, most especially, the human dividend actually trumps a lot of AI technology and machine learning. As a culture, I think even if we see potential in a chatbot, for example, we would still want to close off that interaction with a real human, right? We mentioned, again, high-value customers. They're already predisposed to, again, have that extra VVIP care that is, again, I guess in the current state, not possible embedded into an AI chatbot, for example. So I think 2025, if the question is what will be eliminated, I think obviously, as with any automation, those repetitive menial processes are really a candidate, right? But for example, in the case of as an assistant, if the human dividend of an assistant has incremental value to the boss, the C-suite, then actually that is irreplaceable. So that emotional index is something that is quite critical in terms of that trade-off of job loss through automation or keeping it for, again, that emotional benefit to the end user.
No, but there are AIs that will mimic emotions already, eh?
Depending on the generation. Because quickly sharing, we had a study on Gen Z parents. So I think parents right now are fearing, again, security.
Wait, Gen Z parents?
Gen Z
How old
parents.
am I? Gen Z are parents, are parents
Yes,
already?
yes. 'Cause
Okay.
no, Gen Zs as parents.
Gen Z as
Zs
parents. Wow.
So we did
I
some...
lost the alphabet na eh. Medyo...
Yeah. Actually, the babies born this year are Gen Alphas already. So anyway, point is, Gen Z parents would have a different take on what will be fearful for the future. I guess traditional parents, it's always education, good jobs for my kids, security, and all of that. But one of the things that we saw with Gen Z parents, falling in love with an AI. What if their kid falls in love with an AI is actually a material concern of these new generations? So you can imagine, going back to my point, this is the confluence now of emotion and technology blurring depending on the generation. I think for a Gen X or a boomer, that is actually unthinkable. That's why the virtual assistant, even with perfected emotions, might still not be replaced. But for a Gen Zer, that might actually be a reality in the future.
Wow, that's scary, Rookie. Ah. So beyond 2025, boyfriends and girlfriends might be at
Yeah.
risk, di ba? Wow, okay.
Because we only see, for example, traditional parents would see online predators as the threat. But again, we don't know if that person on the other end of the world is actually a person. What if it's, again, somebody who's either mimicking a perpetrator, or even if they're genuine, might just be a chatbot or
Wow.
might be an AI. And again, falling in love with a non-human is a reality of, again, this generation that we're beginning to see.
Wow, I don't know what I'm more shocked with, that there's already parents na Gen Z or anyway. Okay, Doc. Okay. So we know AIs will replace humans in some jobs, like highly, because you're in the field of highly critical, highly cerebral tasks, di ba? If AIs can actually replace AI, like DeepSeek basically made ChatGPT unemployed in some areas. Are you afraid of, at one point, kids will just not study anymore? I won't go to college. I won't go to take my master's or doctorate because I can just access an AI. So won't the academic world just be upended because of that? And teachers and what have you would lose some of the value that they have?
If it's possible with AI to be able to study what takes now maybe, let's say, 6 years, and you can do that in 2 years or 3 years with the help of AI, and you know exactly the same after this short amount of time, I think that would be great. Because then you have workforce at exactly the same performance level, but at a much earlier age, right? I think that's great. But in order to make this sustainable, we need to reform, transform the whole educational system, right? It doesn't work the way it is now. And then I think the teacher job will actually not be eliminated because they will be very, very crucial in changing how education has to be delivered, right? It will not happen without anything. They will have to think of how will I bring the critical thinking in because they're not allowed to believe whatever comes out of the AI, right? They will have to process it and understand what will be the right answer to give for a certain question. So I think they will be the winners in this situation.
So what's your
actually.
fearless forecast? Which job for 2025 is at risk?
For me, I think it will be the tasks that are super process heavy, what you also just said before, right? Very repetitive or predictable, step 1, 2, 3, etc. But what we usually see also is that people don't have only those jobs, right? These are part of their tasks, and then they have other tasks that are very different that cannot easily be replaced. So for the assistant example, okay, taking minutes will be replaced, right? But then the assistant will have more time for the other value add components in the job. So I don't think the assistant will be eliminated this year, but I think the job of the assistant will be transformed as well. Like what happened with when ATMs were introduced. Tellers were afraid, right? They will all lose their jobs because what was their job? Giving out money. Then people could go to the ATMs, they would withdraw the money. But what happened? Tellers increased. They transformed their job. They did something else with the customers, not anymore giving them money, but they actually personalized the way they were treating the customers and they gave them other services. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And if you, in your job, believe that you can do without AI and you will not transform, then you are definitely at risk. So you will have to, jump on this bandwagon of AI and transform yourself and reskill yourself.
Okay, cool. So my fearless forecast, thank you for that, is that there will be an event that somebody's going to use AI as a moderator. I bet you within 2025. So by then, maybe moderators are going to be extinct. But anyway, so I guess that's all the time we have. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been, sorry. They've extended for 22 minutes, 22 minutes more. Okay, I didn't see that. See, that's why you need an AI. Because, sorry, I thought that was a countdown. So you're saying we still have 22 minutes to discuss? So it's a freewheeling discussion. Do you guys have any questions for the audience? That's why you need an AI moderator. Because you program him for 1 hour. But we've been more than 1 hour, no? Not yet? Okay. You guys have any questions for the panel? Well, I asked you earlier, diba? What's the anyone can answer this one. Aside from DeepSeek being cheaper and also created, or the models were created within 2 months or 3 months. Well, people are now challenging them on the hype. The day after that, they got hacked. Remember that? So I saw that in Perplexity. So I have my Perplexity newsfeed, which suddenly started feeding me a lot more news than before DeepSeek. So how about the cybersecurity aspect of AI? Because most banks, you know this, right? They do snapshots of your face. AI can do that with deepfake. I know of a real case, I won't disclose which company, where the CFO got, maybe you know that, let's just not mention them anymore.
Hong Kong?
But they got, the CFO got hacked because somebody called them and it's really an AI voice that's interacted, etc. So how real is the risk, especially to the financial sector? I know you're doing a lot, but have you heard of other AI-initiated cyber hacks or securities that have happened recently prior to DeepSeek? Remember, DeepSeek is only 2-3 months in existence. So just imagine what will happen in the... So what are the things that you're looking at to prevent those things?
Actually, I heard quite a bit of examples around kidnapping, asking for ransom. Yeah, so the so-called kidnappers, they would pretend to have your child. You'd be on the phone with your child. You'd believe they really have your child, so you'd pay them. And actually, they just deepfaked your child's voice. So your child was just in your house gaming or whatever. And I think this happened in Mexico for
And that's not
several
recent,
cases.
right? That's
Yeah.
maybe a year back or so.
Correct,
So just
correct.
imagine how more sophisticated it is now.
Yeah, so you really have to turn on your critical thinking, or you have to have it always on. It will not work in today's world to turn it off. Maybe you think with AI you don't need to think anymore, but it's actually the opposite. You need to think harder.
So, Ida,
No,
any advice to boards there when their board members get kidnapped and it's...
First is, I actually spent 22 years in banking as well. So there you go. National Australia Bank, Philippine National Bank. And going back to the question on the AI, I'm going to say the AI for good part as far as banking is concerned. Because it's making life easier. In India, under their open finance, and by the way, been part of the open finance in BSP, so we studied all these regions, and India, Korea, and Australia are my three biggest. I'm a fan of the three. But going back to India, because of DeFi, i.e. decentralized finance, and AI, the combination of both, they have reduced fraud by 75%. Because the more information you get about Johan, the more that you can actually pinpoint that he's the real one. And on top of course, the decentralized finance and identity, the verifiable identity, that can actually reduce that dramatically. So while there's a good, bad, and the ugly as far as the adoption of the AI is concerned, it really depends on how we also put governance into it. So in Europe, they have divided the governance part into 4 sectors, and I call it the 4 T's: determinate, transfer, tolerate, and the one that's thriving, that you can actually keep that. They have put the China cameras they've banned that because of data security. So go back to your question on the banking part. I think it is doing more good than bad as far as banking is concerned. Fraud has drastically reduced and has been picked up. I'd still say the governance part of it is actually critical. And if I may expand further, I just want to push further on this because for me, AI is given. Yeah, you guys are gonna use it. I have about 7 AI apps on my phone and my laptops. So that's gonna be. It is actually given. It's gonna do us good. It's gonna make life easier, fun, and so on. But there are big dangers, and I really want to think that what Yusek Josel mentioned earlier on, the next big thing is not AI, but governance in AI.
Governance in AI.
Yeah, I fully support that. We introduced the AI governance unit as part of the AI COE last year. Exactly, also because of that, because we see AI governance as part of supporting innovation, so not really stifling innovation, but supporting it and making sure we can implement and deploy AI in a safe and responsible way. Super important.
Yeah, but Elon Musk want to eliminate all governance. Eh. Isn't that because people are saying governance gets
Is
in
he
the
your
way?
role model?
Well, they're saying governance gets in the way of innovation. Diba? There's a balance to it.
That's why you have to create the right balance.
Okay. Oh, it's. I thought it was end earlier. So anyway, yeah. Well, you have the mic, so.
What was the subject? Just
No,
for
the
two minutes.
cybersecurity is one, and actually, Doc just mentioned governance around. I know there's a document going around AI policy in
Yeah.
government. Have you seen in government? Have you seen that also? I mean, it's tough to provide governance on something that's not yet existing, right? So, is this a situation where regulation is ahead of the innovation at this point?
You want to ask him?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I totally disagree that governance is not audit. Governance is risk management. Um, may I put this in perspective? You put your wallet there. Do you think people will pick it up? Most likely in Japan, if you do that, your wallet will still be there or get returned. But not in all countries. And I don't believe, the probability of Philippines, you're probably going to lose the wallet. Someone's going to take it. Governance is more on the ethics side, the doing the right thing. So that's it's supporting the technology, but we need to embed good morals. We need to embed ethics, and we need to embed doing the right things. Just because I can make a video of you and saying that I hate Henry Aguda doesn't mean that I should do it. Yeah,
Or you can. I mean.
no, because I love Henry Aguda. No, but yeah. So back to that, and this is why I'm saying that governance is actually not stifling innovation whatsoever. In fact, it's actually supporting it. But as Dr. Adrian mentioned, it's got to be responsible use of it.
I have a question for our entrepreneur, if I may.
Go ahead.
So I actually believe in order to fight financial crimes better and to also protect our customers better, we should be more proactive in open banking and collect more data, have more holistic views on our customers, like what you also said some time ago. Would you believe that that would also strengthen the protection of our customers a lot, and not to the point that it's actually a fear for them because we have more data about them, so we can also use it in a bad way against them, but that we would actually do it in a much more beneficial way than we can today?
Yeah, one of the things you were just mentioning, India, that is a huge example. When you look at UPI and the interoperability, you do see some things with like QRPH and those types of things, but I do think it is very critical as a society for us to have that type of interoperability and increasing the agency of the common Filipino to transact in a trustworthy phase. And, you know, kudos to Gcash to helping us, you know, understand, you know, the power of, you know, engaging with things like a QR code. But I definitely do think that interoperability, trust, that's actually one of the biggest layers. A lot of times when I talk to other entrepreneurs, you know, I'm a sea turtle, right? I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I told my parents, who are both Filipino, hey, you know, I know I'm living on the beach, but I'm going to move to the place you left and start a company. They're like, what? That's crazy. But it's okay because we love you. And so I'm on this mission to go sea turtle, like Filipino Canadians, Filipino French, Filipino Americans, Filipino Australians, and just convincing them to come back here. And the primary problems to solve outside of AI is payments, logistics, infrastructure, and it's in a really exciting time. And a lot of times it's very easy for us to be all negative about what's happening. But in the case of society pushing you into irrelevant or relevant buckets, some of the most relevant, purpose-driven, life-changing, meaningful work exists here in the motherland. And that's why I'm willing to die for this country, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to really make progress. So yeah. But thank you.
Thank you.
Like payments is so huge for us. Like a company can't work. So yeah.
Well,
About quick commentary. So I think that's from a consumer perspective. But we in the creative industry, actually we got shook because the battle with AI is about intellectual property. It's originality. Who owns the work? How much should you rehash the image so that it becomes original for you? So I guess going back to governance processes, we're all picking it up from where we are right now. We're learning the process. It's quite complicated because, again, we engage with clients who are also co-accountable to the content, the idea. So, and again, different companies would have their own processes and governance around AI. So it gets a little bit complex for us in the agency industry. But I think what AI did to the creative industry is really push their boundaries, knowing that they should produce something that AI cannot. So I think that's the biggest challenge that continues to revolutionize how we think of creatives, how we think of designing media ecosystems, because the threat actually challenged the industry to do so much better.
so if there's an industry that's really under fire right now, is your industry, di ba? Because with
Right.
Stable Diffusion, Sora,
exactly.
I mean,
Video.
it's not just an LLM. They can create
Right.
movies and shorts. So
Yeah, it's interesting. So the way we embrace it, for example, when we do a video board, a storyboard, you know, clients are open to seeing it in AI. And then the challenge is how do we make it come to life? How can we make that, you know, seemingly impossible imagery something into reality, again, not using AI. But there are some clients who would want to go AI all the way. So again, it's a mix depending on the appetite of the consumer, of your clients. But as agencies, as creatives, we should be ready to take on whatever challenge that direction will take them.
that's
So,
tough because if you're a prompt engineer,
Yes.
create a short that looks like it's been created by a professional agency, and you can choose. Di ba? You can choose
Yes.
the templates, right?
So actually, one of the training that we have for creatives is the creativity of the prompt. So that's a separate discipline that we have actually gone into because creativity in AI will not be creative depending on what the prompt is. Your prompt might be different from my prompt with the same brief. So again, it's a new skill, I guess, that creatives have actually taken on, the creativity of the
But
prompt.
that's the paradox. The more you engage AI in the creative space, it
They
feeds
learn.
you. You're training the AI, and as soon as you're training the AI, that's tough, huh? Wow. I mean, scary. As soon as you give them bodies, now we're dead. We're really. But anyway, I guess that's our session for that's our session for today. So please let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, and.